So welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Nuns on the Bus. My name is Patty McGuire. I am the Outreach Coordinator here at St. Elizabeth Van Seating. We would like to welcome everybody here tonight. Thank you for coming to our Town Hall of Justice, conducted by Sister Simone Campbell and the Nuns on the Bus. And thank you, Sister, for coming. I'd also like to take a moment to welcome all the people from St. Elizabeth Van Seating Catholic Church, parishioners here, other people from other parishes here, and we have other people coming from quite a distance. So welcome to all the guests and everybody here at St. Elizabeth. Thank you for coming. So we have come together tonight to hear stories about concerns that people and their families are facing, and to share our thoughts about how we can make our city, our state, and our country a better place for all. We ask everyone to listen with an open mind and an open heart. Please be respectful of one another's ideas. Our thoughts and ideas about how to solve our country's problems may differ and are often debatable. Hopefully, you will find comfort in the knowledge all of our intentions are rooted in the same foundation, to take care of our families and God's children. So please bow your heads in the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Oh God, we pray to you and ask you to grant that violence be overcome by the power of love, that opposition give way to reconciliation, and that the desire to oppress be transformed into the desire for forgiveness, justice, and peace. May peace be in our hearts so that they are open to the actions of God's grace. We ask this in your name, through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns with you with the Holy Spirit, one God, forever and ever. Amen. And it is my pleasure to introduce tonight Sister Simone Campbell. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's exciting to be here in Las Vegas, though I have to say when we came in on our bus, the traffic was so bad. I thought we were back in Los Angeles from yesterday. What happened to Las Vegas? You took all the worst things from California and transplanted at least that part of it. So we're really grateful to be here tonight and to have a chance to share with you some information that we have, and then to hear from you your concerns and perspectives. Because one of the things about being on the bus is it gives us a chance to travel the country. You know, we're going from Santa Monica, California, all the way to Mar-a-Lago to the Atlantic Ocean. And so some of the theme is from sea to shining sea, one coast to the other. And when you see our bus, did you get to see, oh, I think our bus is out getting gas. So it'll be back here by the time we finish. But when you see the route, you'll see that we're sort of wandering the countryside. 27 days, 54 events, 21 states. So it's quite a trip. But we're excited because today's day 2, and we're still standing and quite excited about being here tonight. So I'd like to invite my sisters to come forward so that y'all can introduce yourselves so that everybody knows who's who. They all got themselves organized for the latter part of the day, so we're going to have to keep the order. Okay, so let's carry on. Why don't you start?
Good evening. My name is Sister Mariana Lacey, and I'm a daughter of Charity, and I work at Network Lobby in Washington, D.C., and I'm grateful to be here this evening.
Hi there, my name is Sister Quincy Howard. I'm a Dominican sister of Cincinnati out of Wisconsin, and I currently live in Washington, D.C., and also work at Network Lobby. Thank you for having us tonight.
Hi, I'm Sister Michelle Warwick. I'm an Ursuline sister from Kentucky, but I now live in Kansas City.
And good evening. I'm Sister Dusty. I'm a Dominican from Adrian, Michigan, and delighted to be with all of you tonight.
I'm Julie Furge. I'm a sister of St. Joseph, and I'm from Philadelphia, and I've never been to Las Vegas. This is so exciting. Thank you.
I'm Sister Phyllis Tierney. I'm a sister of St. Joseph from Rochester, New York. Very happy to be with you tonight. Thank you. I'm Sister Chris Machado. I'm a sister of social service at Simone and from Los Angeles. And I'm also very happy to be here with you tonight. Thank you for having us.
Good evening. My name is Sister Bernadine Karki. I'm a Dominican sister of Cincinnati, Wisconsin. I live and work in Chicago, Illinois. And I'm delighted to be with you, and thank you very much for joining us and sharing this evening with us.
I'm Sister Rachel Killip. I'm also a Dominican sister of Cincinnati, and I live in Madison, Wisconsin. Thank you.
My beloved sisters, why don't you take your seats? And now that we've introduced ourselves, what I would invite you to do is turn to someone you don't know around you, and if you know everybody, just talk, look friendly, or pretend like it's the first time introduction, and introduce yourself and say, why'd you come out on such a beautiful night tonight to the church to see Nuns on the Bus? What drew you here tonight? So just take a couple of minutes and chat with yourself.
What's your name? Gabriella, how lovely. And yours? Mark. Oh, fabulous. That's a really great name. And it's named after one of the the gospel writers, right? Oh, cool. And your name? Giovanni. Were you named after St. John or the gospel writer or the Pope? The gospel. Oh, how wonderful! That's really great. Oh, we'll get a chance to chat. If not in the group, in the big audience, we'll certainly take you in. Okay? How's that? Is that fair? Yeah. Okay, cool. Look forward to it. Yeah, good to see you. Are you members of the parish? Is that you? I don't know the parish. Thanks for coming out. Appreciate it. All right.
Okay. Now you know a little bit more. Don't collect people.
Hi, I'm Sister Simone. Lauren, how beautiful. Thank you.
All right. I'm in the whole first row, so I had to meet Lauren. So let's hear a couple of reasons of why people are here tonight, just so we know what's in the room. If you could just kind of raise your hands if you want to just share a little something of what you shared about what you're interested in. We've got microphones. Okay, want to be our first person? You're bold and brave. Lauren, you going to do it for us? Okay, here. Catherine has a microphone.
I'm here to fight for my faith against abortion.
Oh, fight for your faith against abortion. Cool. Now, we got to turn it on.
I'm here to fight for my faith against abortion and the nuns on the bus.
Oh, well, now that's a little hard. But I think being against abortion is an important thing. So maybe we can find some common ground there. Since I'm a nun on the bus, that's going to be a little tough. But I'm sure we can find some common ground. You know, when Jesus invited us always to find a way to talk to people and to engage and find ways forward together. So I think this is going to be a really good challenge. Why else are people here tonight? Some other ideas? Okay, in the back. And one over here, Catherine, you need definitive people.
I teach at an at-risk school here in Las Vegas,
And I see the consequences of the laws and what's happening, and especially through immigration, and it breaks my heart.
Amen. Amen. Good point. Somebody over here had their hand up? Cool.
I have to admit, one of my reasons is very selfish. I grew up with Sisters of Charity, Elizabeth Ann Seton, and then in high school I had Sisters of St. Joseph.
Oh, fabulous.
So I was hoping I would get to see all the neat habits. That's a secret wish I wish we still had the habits.
Only those who didn't wear them.
That's right. I'm going to tell you a real quick story. I took a sister in a habit who doesn't speak English into McDonald's. And when we went in, a man approached and said, "Hello, sister," and then announced he was an atheist. At the end of breakfast, he knelt down in front of his nun and asked for a blessing. So I have a great love for all nuns.
That's great.
Even though they lock me up. Why I'm here is because our faith must be witnessed in all places, not just here in the church, in the voting booth, in the restaurant, at the job, in
I think
our
you're giving my closing argument. I'm going to give it to you. That's perfect. That is so true. That's perfect. Okay, we've got a few things out in the air. We've got some folks over here that like to have a little fight. We've got folks here that want to kind of stir it up and see what can we do to make our faith live beyond the church. We want to speak about what's breaking our hearts and what we see about the pain in our society and how do we move forward. And quite frankly, the pain of the society may include the issue of abortion too. But tonight we're going to talk about the economic struggles that we're facing as a nation. Because my organization, Network, we work to end the economic disparity, the economic poverty that exists in our nation. And we were at a visit this afternoon and learned a bit about some of the economic struggles here in Las Vegas. And some of the changes that are taking place make it a real challenge for how to move forward together as a society where some folks can get left out and others get a privilege that keeps it distant. So we're going to look at the economic reality, and we're going to do it in 4 parts, okay? So the first part is talking about what's happened to income. This is national averages over the last 36 years, from 1980 to 2016. Then what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the impact of the tax bill that was passed, that is our tax law now, that was passed by Congress last December. And we're going to talk about how that affects income disparity. Then what we're going to do is talk about the consequences of the tax bill. And finally, we're going to have some conversation about how this national reality might impact Las Vegas and what you folks might see could be done about it. Because what we want to hear, we'll give you the national story, but we want to hear how that impact affects Las Vegas. Okay? Does that sound good? And the very last part, which is so much fun, this is the half part, is if you sign our pledge card, if you engage to work to create a tax policy for the common good, then if you sign the pledge card, you can come on out and sign our bus. Because what we want is that by the end of our ride, by the time we get to Mar-a-Lago on November 2nd, we don't want to be just nuns on the bus. We want everybody on the bus. Okay? Does that sound good? Perfect. Okay, so I'm going to turn this now over to Sister Marianne, who's going to get us started. So, Sister Marianne?
Thank you. Again, thank you for showing up tonight, and I appreciate the time to speak with you about this. As Simone said, tonight we're here to talk about tax justice. But before we can really talk about the most recent tax bill, we have to recognize that we didn't all start at the same place. We don't all start at the same place, isn't that true? We actually start where the last tax breaks and tax policies left us. You see, between the years of 1940 and 1980, all 5 quintiles, and that's how economists talk about groups of people in economy or economic systems, it's quintiles. All 5 quintiles advanced at the same rate between 1940 and 1980. That is, they all advanced 100%. So everybody moved forward as a nation, as a community. But what happened in 1980? We saw our first round of trickle-down economics, right? We saw massive tax breaks. We saw a lot of tax policy change, and that resulted in a disparate impact for economic growth. So what we've devised tonight is to show you a visual experience. First, we're going to lay out where we all start, and then Simone's going to take it home and tell you what the new tax bill will do to the people of our nation. So we have the sisters are going to assume a persona, but they're not made-up people. Each person that they represent in each quintile, we have met these people. We have heard their suffering, and we have heard their joys. But we took one who was most representative of each quintile to use for this experience, and we're going to show you how much money that they got or how much advancement, economic growth they made since 1980. And then we'll take you to what's going to happen to them with the new bill, or what's going to happen to us. So we're going to talk about right now how much economic growth each quintile experienced between the years of 1980 and 2016. So I'm going to ask the first quintile, representative for the first quintile, to come up here now. And after she tells the story of who she is, what quintile she represents, she's going to be permitted to take one step for every 5% of growth she experienced since 1980. She or he in this case.
My name is Eddie. I'm 46 years old. My wife and I work minimum wage jobs to support ourselves and our 2 children. I work in retail, and my wife works a part-time housekeeping job so that she is available for the kids. Our combined salaries are about $24,000 a year. It's hard to pay the rent and afford all of our other expenses, so we get nutrition assistance from the state, and the kids get school lunches. Some nights we eat dinner at St. Vincent's. During the winter, part of our energy bill is covered by the state, so we can afford the heating bill. The kids' health care is covered by the Children's Health Insurance Program, or CHIP. When they get older, I want them to be able to go to college, which we hope we'll find a way to pay for with grants and other help. My family is part of the lowest economic quintile in the United States.
So Eddie, being in the lowest quintile, has experienced 8.25% economic growth in the past 36 years. So he can take 1.5 steps. I'm going to call the next quintile.
Good evening. My name is Vicki. I am 33 years old and raising my 2 children and my brother's 2 children with the help of my mother. I'm a 2nd grade teacher's aide and a server at a restaurant on the weekends. I earn $42,000 a year, and my mother receives $740 a month from Social Security. The 4 children are signed up for school lunches. And like Eddie over here, I live pretty much paycheck to paycheck and have no bank account. My job doesn't allow my nephews to be covered on my health insurance, so they get health care through the Children's Health Insurance Program, CHIP. My family is part of the 2nd economic quintile,
And since 1980, the second economic quintile has grown 15.94%. So Nikki can advance 3 full steps. The next one.
I'm Diana. I'm 30 and live with my husband and our 3 young daughters. My husband and I both work at a Catholic elementary school in a low-income neighborhood. I'm a 4th grade teacher and he is the facilities manager. I regularly use my own money to buy school supplies my class needs, which was easier when I could get a tax write-off for them. I want to continue working as an elementary school teacher, but I wonder if I should find a different job for the sake of my family. I'm paying off student loans that take a big chunk of my income every month. Our savings account is small and could be wiped out with one emergency. Our combined income is $66,400. My family is in the middle quintile in the United States.
The middle quintile has grown 20.45% in the past 36 years, so Diana can take 4 full steps. Now we'll hear from the person who represents the 4th quintile.
Good evening. My name is Adelaide. I'm 87 years old. I have 5 children and many grandchildren. My husband was a doctor all of his life until he passed away 7 years ago. My son tried to invest my savings, hoping that it would allow me to stay in my home as long as I could. Although I'm covered by Medicare, I'm having serious issues as a result of dementia, and the expenses are more than my husband's retirement savings. I need to move somewhere where I can get more help, but the nursing home requires private pay for a year, which would cost up to $180,000 before I can switch to Medicaid. My annual income is $97,500, and I have to spend all of that before I am eligible for Medicaid. With my income, I'm in the 4th economic quintile.
And Adelaide, in her quintile, has grown 31.56% in the past 46 years. So Adelaide can take 6 full steps. Now we'll hear from the top 20%.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jonathan, husband and father to 3 kids. I'm 55 years old and serve as the CEO of a small hospital within a Catholic healthcare system. My family lives in an affluent area, and all of my children attend excellent public high schools and will go to private colleges. We are practicing Catholics, give to charities, and are concerned about various social justice issues like hunger and homelessness. My annual income is $245,000, and I don't mind paying my fair share of taxes or adhering to regulations that provide a safe environment for my family and my employees. I don't want to see the safety net in our country shredded or our nation stop investing in our shared future. I'm in the top 20%, the top economic quintile in the United States.
and the top quintile has grown 65.86%. So Jonathan gets to take 13 full steps. You're beginning to see where this is going, are you not? But we have one more group one more person that we're going to introduce to you, and that's the top 1%, because I think the disparateness will show more.
My name is George. I'm a married father of 4 and a hedge fund manager. I own multiple homes, send my children to top private schools, and go on expensive vacations. Much of my income comes from financial investments, and I've inherited wealth from my parents and grandparents. So I guess people might consider me old money. My annual income is $1,453,000. The overwhelming majority of my money comes from returns on investments, not my salary. And I currently pay a lower tax rate than the wealthiest have paid in generations. I want the best for my children, but I am deeply concerned about inequality of opportunity in our country. I'm a member of the 1%.
And in the past 36 years, members of the top 1% have grown 205%. So George can take 44 full steps. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. You can continue on right after that. 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. You're there. So this is where the last tax cuts left us. Look around here. The disparateness that we see. You've got Eddie down here, and you've got the top 1% over here. And this is where we start before this new tax bill became law last year. Quick question, we don't have to get in small groups, but just turn to the few people around you and looking at these groups, these personas, who do you think is under the most stress? Just buzz for about 20 seconds with your neighbor about it. We'll take a quick show of hands. Okay, how many people think it's George over there? Raise your hand. Probably not, right? How about Jonathan up there? Not a lot of voters for that either. Adelaide? Or elderly lady waiting to get into the nursing home? How about Diana? Struggling? Anyone for Nikki? Show your hands. How many for Nikki? All right. And how many for Eddie? That's usually the answer we get, but the research shows from the American Psychiatric Association that the most stressed out is Nikki. And the reason that is because she's trying to prevent from falling into the last quintile. She's hanging on to that last little bit of things that keep her from falling into the most impoverished class. Eddie's already there, but the fear and the stress of falling into that abyss of poverty produces more stress for that quintile. So now that you know where we stand, where we started before this tax bill, Simone's going to come on up here and tell you what this tax bill will do to the people who are already starting behind the fence.
Thanks, Mary Ellen. Well, did that information cheer you up? But it kind of explains some of the anxiety that we experience, right? the fact that the middle class, Diana up there in her lovely red sweater, gained such a small amount, 20% in 36 years. Many of us have felt the stress of just trying to get by, and it doesn't seem like we were getting that far behind. But then we get the reality of what's happened to the top 20%. George up there, our beloved sister Chris, she and I are in the same community, so I mean, our treasurer in our community wishes we had a George in our community. But the fact between, oh, excuse me, George is over there. Sorry, I got Jonathan mixed up. But George gained a fair amount, but then we get, I mean, Jonathan gained a fair amount, but George over there is totally out of sight. Lives in a gated community, doesn't know how exceptional he is because it's not the people he's around. And we don't know George or even Jonathan. We don't know they exist because look at here with Eddie and Nikki and Diana and even Natalie, they're all pretty close together. So we don't even realize what's happening. Now, an interesting thing is by definition, at a minimum, the members of Congress are in Jonathan's category because they make $200,000 or more a year. $200,000 from their salary in Congress, but they often have other income. So what often happens is that they know their experience, but they don't know everybody else's experience. And I think that helps explain some of what happened in the tax bill. So we're going to look at what happened in the tax bill, and I'm going to talk about the amount of money based on these stories, what they will get in additional revenue because of the tax cuts, okay? So first of all, Eddie, I'm really excited to tell you, because I know money's tight, I'm excited to tell you that you're going to get $60 on your tax refund this year that you wouldn't have gotten last year. Now we're changing the measure. The thing that we used before was percentages. So there's a little apples and oranges. But to illustrate this, we're going to have everybody take one step for every $100 that they get. Okay? Just so we can see. So Eddie, you're going to get $60, so you get a half step. And I urge you not to spend it all in one place, okay? Now, Nikki, I've got some good news for you because Nikki, next to the bottom, you're going to get $380. So why don't you take a step out so you don't run into Diana there, and you get 4 steps. You ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Good deal. All right, Diana. Good news for the middle class. You're going to get $930. So you get 9 steps. You ready? 1, 2, 3. Longer steps. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's sort of how we do our taxes. Try to stretch it as far as we can. Okay. And Adelaide, well, this is really good news because you've got a lot of investment income, right? So you're going to get, because of the reduction on the rate of return or rate of taxation for investment income, you're going to get $1,810. So I'm pleased to tell you, you get to take 18 steps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. 15, 16, 17, 18. Oh, good news for Adelaide. There you are. Now, Jonathan, you go out there. I am slightly more proud to tell you that you're going to get $7,640. So you get to take 76 steps. You ready? Okay, and mark. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now she's going to have to keep counting because we don't have time just to count 76. So you keep counting because I want to get over to George over here. Everybody see George over there? Okay, George. Can you hear me? Got it? Okay. I am totally horrified to tell you that you're going to get $193,380 as your additional refund. So you get 1,933 steps. Okay? So just count it to yourself, and we'll go on. Now, where are you, Jonathan?
68.
Okay, so you get a few more. 76.
69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 64, 75, 76.
Oh, good. Welcome back. Now, there is another piece that we have to add to this. This is the individual income reality. What we need to add to this is the fact that this was principally a corporate tax cut that was made permanent. So I would like to invite our corporation up here. Oh, where's the microphone? No, we lost the microphone.
Corporations have a voice too.
Your people, exactly.
Hello, I'm a multinational corporation. I represent a multinational corporation that designs, manufactures, markets, and distributes products. We manufacture products in 30 countries and sell them around the world under various brands. Our annual gross profit was $19.5 billion last year. Our corporate leadership continuously looks for ways to pay the lowest taxes and maximize profits, including lower corporate tax rates and reduced taxes for repatriating overseas profits. Last year, we employed over 100,000 people in the United States.
Well, that's really good. I'm really glad you employed those people, but I'm a little horrified to say that with, what was your profit, 1.8?
98.5 billion.
Okay, so that tax rate of 30% or 36% on the profit has been now reduced to 21%. So that leaves you about $5 billion, $6 billion additional dollars that you didn't have before. So why don't you just start walking and kind of count up to, I don't know, 1,000, 1,500. Don't just see how far you can get. So just go off and start walking around. Okay? Now, the piece that's important to notice is that these are all interconnected in our economy, and no one is separate from anyone else, because Adelaide up there is depending upon the corporation of giving a return on investment so that she can increase her income. So this matters to her if they choose, not you, George, but if the corporation chooses to increase dividends. But down here, Eddie and Nikki and Diana are all concerned, will the corporations give raises? Or will they give one-time bonuses? And the way this law was sold for the corporate tax cut was because everyone knew the corporation, this is the line, everyone knew corporations would do the right thing and increase the wages of their workers. Now, it's less than 4% of all corporations in the United States that have raised their salaries of their workers. Less than 4%. Most corporations have either stashed the cash, or they have bought back their shares, which raise the value of their shares artificially, or they're increasing dividends, or more often, top management salaries, or benefits. So this is a real problem. But it's not just that. The Congressional Budget Office just came out with revised numbers based on current tax collection that indicates this bill in 10 years will add $1.9 trillion to the deficit. Now, nobody knows what $1.9 trillion is. Kids might, because you're in school, you might know what numbers are, but most of us don't have a clue about 1.9 trillion. Come on, Catherine, way over there, Catherine, you got me into this. Catherine, one of our staff, found a reference, and we figured this out. I actually did the math because I didn't believe it. 1.9 trillion. If you spend $1 every second for 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, 366 in leap year, it would take you 60,284 years to spend $1.9 trillion. That's a lot, right? And it's a level of magnitude that we can't even really imagine. But what it says to me is that to be responsible in our nation, and what the politicians in DC are already saying, is because we have this deficit, we're going to have to cut programs. So we want to spend a little time looking at what will be cut. Well, we've already heard that Eddie and Nikki are using the nutrition assistance programs. So I'm really sorry, Nikki and Eddie, that we're going to have to cut those programs for you. So take one step back for each of the people in your family that are affected. Sorry about that. Okay, and then we also see in the president's proposed budget that we really can't afford to invest in our infrastructure. So everybody, even you, George, and this corporation, you have to take a step back because we're going to have worse roads, worse highways. We won't have the infrastructure for our electrical grid or everything else that we care about. So everybody take a step back. In addition, the administration says we can't afford Medicaid and we can't afford the money that goes from the general fund into Medicare, and they're beginning to call Medicare an entitlement, even though I have paid into it all of my working life, and I consider it an insurance. That's what they're calling it, is an entitlement, because they're saying, oh my heavens, we're going to have to, we can't afford it, we'll have to cut it. So Nikki, and Eddie and Adelaide, so sorry, we're going to have to take a step back, please. Then we're not going to be able to invest in the same way as we have in, turn my page, housing. You all here in Las Vegas have quite a housing crisis, we understand. Well, I'm sorry, the federal government doesn't have the money to pay for housing, low-cost housing or Section 8 vouchers, and Nikki is using a Section 8 voucher. So Nikki, sorry, you're going to have to take 2 steps back. Really sorry. I'm sure you can find a place. Might be your car, but we'll work on it. And then we're not going to have the money to invest in first responders. So everybody's going to have to take a step back because it's an issue of training and equipment and staying on top of this. And finally, oh no, not finally, and then we won't have the money to subsidize either the heat or in Las Vegas, the air conditioning for low-income people. Yeah, you probably could do without heat, but air conditioning is really a problem. So I'm sorry, Eddie, you can't use that support. We're going to have to take a step back. And then we're also not going to have the money to invest in education. And so the current administration is proposing significant cuts to education and the privatization of public education. So that's going to impact all of us, even the corporation, and George, George, right here. Okay, even the corporation is going to have to take a couple of steps back, 2 steps back. Got it? Sorry, Lou. Okay, look at this. What happens is we just think of the revenue side of this. We're really not tracking the adverse impact for the things we care about as a nation, for caring for the common good, for doing the things that can't be done by just private charity. You know, a couple of years ago, the Bread for the World figured out that just to meet the nutrition assistance program, to address, this was last year, to address the amount of cuts in President Trump's proposed budget, that every synagogue, every mosque, every house of worship would have to raise an additional $248,000 just to meet the food needs of the people in our area. Well, I don't know about this beautiful church and your justice work, but that seems a little daunting. I know the church I attend, no way can we ever do that, $248,000 additional. It's not possible. The magnitude of need is not measuring up to what charity per se can do. And in fact, yesterday we were at Homeboy Industries. Did any of you know Homeboy, Father Greg Warren? We went to their place and we heard that they have a $20 million program. 9% of their $20 million are federal money. 9% gives them the anchor base so that they raise $18 million through charity and foundations. But you know what? That $2 million has now been cut because of this. And their contracts have been canceled. And they just had to lay off 20 people who were doing worker training, who were tattoo removal, getting kids out of gangs, doing this amazing work. But the money wasn't there for this seed money to make a difference. That's the real life story of the impact of this. So, now we've done our part. So let's thank my beloved members of Thank you so much. I'm sure the corporation got all of her steps in. On the bus, we just sit most of the day, so Quincy decided she was ready to walk. So now the question comes to you. How is this going to impact your communities? What's going to happen? And then the second question will be, what can we do about it? How do we engage this? But before we break into just kind of groups, and the sisters are going to fan out and join their groups, but before we do that, I'm just curious if we can have some definitive mic winners. What surprises you about this? What touches you? What's your reaction? If we could just get a few reactions into the room, I'd be curious. Okay, there's one, Catherine over here.
I was just thinking about that Alzheimer's victim who got $1,000 back. It probably covers a week in a nursing home.
Yeah, barely a week, I'm sure. If that.
My major concern is when everybody falls into the pit like this, we're going to have riots and looting and people robbing and breaking into places, and it's just going to be total chaos and murders and rapes. Wow. And it's going to disintegrate the society. You can't keep going on like this and pushing people down into the hole like that. It's going to be an explosion, and it's going to be really bad.
Help. Okay, the back. Here.
First, I'd say that social justice is a worthy cause, for sure. I guess my question would be, I'd like to understand your view on how the Catholic Council of Catholic Bishops is, I think, questioning your group as it comes to the teachings of the Church.
Oh, thank you. The important thing here is we work on economic issues, and the Catholic bishops we signed the letter with the Catholic bishops opposing this tax bill. And so we're standing closely with our bishops and our leadership on this very critical issue. And I think it's really important. Okay, thank you. Thanks. Okay, here.
The actual data says the tax cut shows that the government has collected $82 billion more than it did last year after the tax cuts. So I'm not sure I understand the narrative of losing all of these resources when in fact the government actually has more money than it did last year.
Actually, it doesn't. what's happened is that the money that has been collected has been for the past fiscal year, and it's as corporations come to their fiscal year and file in their fiscal year that this takes effect. So we're having some of the continuing old tax bill. It's when we file, when individuals file in after January 1, that's when the biggest piece is going to be shown. So one of the clever things is it takes effect after the elections is part of the deal. But okay, these aren't exactly surprises, but that's fine. Do we have a surprise that we want to, or okay? It's too hard in a large group to do this quality of conversation for doing all the details. So I'm going to ask that, why don't we get in groups of 5, 6, something like that? Because I want to know, what do you see the impact is in Las Vegas?
I'm sorry, we have to go. Can I just make a comment? I'm sorry.
That's all right. Well, we'll give you a chance.
Really.
So, this is all great to be talking about, you know, how we can come together as a country and do better for the common good.
Right.
But this is where we have to start making some very difficult decisions as Catholics. I'm a Catholic mom trying to raise 5 kids and to educate them on who we are. And it starts at the very essence of life. So this is what I see right here. We have 2 sides. And really, I'm not a Democrat and I'm not a Republican. I'm a Catholic mom. Amen. My husband and I work 3 jobs. We're trying to make ends meet. I would gladly give whatever I had to help the common good without sacrificing who I am as a daughter of God the Father. I cannot condone. But sister, it comes back to this. You're supporting and leading us toward a platform that may help tax breaks, and we can argue about that. But at the same time, we're killing our children. 3,000 children a day are being murdered. Just let me say this. The party that you're leaning toward supports the murder of a child, supports euthanasia, supports stem cell embryonic children. It supports all these things. So how can we say, okay guys, we're going to vote for this party and lose who I am as a Christian?
Let me read your program.
The abomination of same-sex marriage.
It's called the 5 non-negotiables. They're called 5 non-negotiables because they're intrinsic evils. Please, I'm begging you, for your salvation, stop this nonsense. We are Catholic.
Amen. Amen.
Okay. I misunderstood. And we stay.
No, so I do have to get home. I live across town.
It's really hard when you, in effect, throw a grenade in So we'll go on, but let me just do my response, since apparently she doesn't want to hear it. My response is what Pope Francis says. I find myself to be, I am pro-life, but it's a much broader issue than, and as Pope Francis says in his exhortation on holiness, he says that it is critically important to protect the lives of the unborn. And then he goes on and says, equally sacred, however, are the lives of the poor, those already born, the destitute, the abandoned, and the underprivileged, the vulnerable, infirm, and elderly exposed to covert euthanasia, the victims of human trafficking, new forms of slavery, and every form of rejection.
Is that infallible? We need to know what we're going to believe. Is that infallible? But just tell us. Yeah, okay, but is it infallible?
Okay, so what I'm talking about. Hey, wait, we can get into that.
You know, we're pro-life also. So if this is what we're talking about here, I understand everyone's view. Can we all just get together and talk about everything? Yes, exactly pro-life, absolutely. But not with this, as we're talking this other stuff right now too. So you know what? There are people that can't have medical insurance, that are dying out there, that are on the streets. I think how would you know?
If everybody gets church doesn't represent pro-life abortion under no circumstances. No circumstances for abortion. This is what
God, Jesus was art loving everybody.
Okay, everybody take a deep breath.
Because he loves everybody.
Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Are we ready? Now. Are you on the topic, or do you want to fight a bridge? What's your hand that's up?
I just make a comment. I think we have stuff that move the meeting. I really appreciate that we got God back in the system. God's a little big now in our strategy in this country. I also like the fact that we're doing a better job of taking care of the poor or the less fortunate. But as people are supposed to have some better for easier. And we got more people that are working now. And the wages are going up. So some of the things on the picture here are very, very bad. Obviously, to take care of those issues, also. But at least we're moving in the right direction. I felt good about that.
Good. Okay. Now, can I invite this group, because I know you all wanted to have a conversation. Chris and Phyllis, can I invite you all to go and have your conversation with my brother boss? Those folks that want to talk this issue, why don't we, Father, is there a place where we can have that conversation so you can hear really and we can hear your position. So that would be helpful if we could do that. Okay, so Kelly is going to lead you right there to a place where you can have that conversation. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. That's great. Yeah, we'll get to you to share your point of view. But I think what we have to be mindful of is that I've got a commitment to time here, too. And we came with a certain agenda, and this was sort of not on our agenda. Why? It's important to raise because this is one of the challenges for us, and I agree with you about moving the needle on the whole thing. The truth is, wages are going up at such a minuscule amount right now that it's extremely difficult for low-wage workers like Eddie and Nikki. That's still the truth. And no, they haven't. We just showed you what they went up. They went up 8% in 36 years for the bottom quintile. 8%. So what we're going to do is, what I want to do is go to solutions. Can we go to solutions? Because I think we can say this is not a perfect world right now. Would we all agree it's not a perfect world? That we've got poverty, we've got homelessness, we've got folks that are struggling. We have folks that have incredible wealth who don't know the experience of low-income folks, or folks who do. Did you notice in George's narrative, he worries about what's happening with low-income people. I think that's true across the board. They're good people everywhere. But the question is, what do we do as a matter of policy? How do we come together and find a way forward on the economic issues, as well as on the issues of all of life? Now, all of life for me includes the economic issues, and that's why I'm such a champion for making a difference for people, because what we know is the abortion rate goes down when people have economic alternatives, when they can care for their kids, and when women can get health care. Those are the things I care the most about, that we care for pregnant women. So let's try to find some solutions, shall we? So I'm going to invite you to get together in like-minded groups. Don't get together with groups that you're going to have fights with, okay? Because that doesn't happen anywhere. We fight all the time. I mean, my family dinner at Thanksgiving, you don't want to be around them. So let's make this, since we're in the church, for heaven's sakes, let's find a way to find peace and to pull this thing together what are alternatives? And I'd like you to weave in an alternative, and then we'll get your.
I would like to address the historically good event that's happened in the last 36 years, economics, just strictly economics.
Well, why don't you and I chat about it on the side of it?
Guys, like 1 billion people out of extreme poverty in the last 36 years.
That's certainly through the third world. Totally agree.
Right.
Totally.
Those multinational corporations are actually responsible for the
okay, I'm just doing, I'm just doing, this is why I want to talk to you, because I'm just doing domestic politics. I'm not doing internet.
Right, I'm saying, you understand, there's worldwide consequences to all our brethren, all our Catholic friends.
Now, let's look at our country, because we've got an election coming on November 6th, and we need to look at our country. So.
Why can't we be pro-life and also for these issues?
Yes, it can be.
She just said she's
Well, I think in this context, it's going to be fun. So let's see what we can figure out. What could help Las Vegas deal with some of your issues? What could help? What could help with housing? What could help with, and what are the issues that you need to address? I'm asking sisters to plan out and help facilitate conversations with folks so we can look at what you see as opportunities. And we're going to have to